Imagine my surprise when about a year ago we saw a trailer for a project called Suicide Squad Isekai. You might think I was surprised, concerned, maybe even annoyed. I mean, the Suicide Squad is a property that's been getting beaten to hell and back over and over again for several years now, with varying quality. But what I can say is that I was pleasantly intrigued more than anything. And I'll say now, I think the show is better than even I thought it would be. Given that this is another anime-themed project similar to My Adventures of Superman, I thought it would be more or less like that show where they don't actually use a lot of anime tropes, it's just mostly the art style and the occasional reference here or there. However, for this show, I feel like the art style might be the weakest part overall. And I'll talk about that more later, but I'm in the good section, so I will say the animation is really, really good. You can tell that there's a few parts where the quality is a little lower than others, but animation is a very taxing, hard process on the creators who are making it, who are animating and drawing it all the time. So I think it's more acceptable in the way that it ended up being than it would be if it was just overall bad. And honestly, the parts that looked not as good still worked well. Something that I think gets looked over a lot when it comes to Suicide Squad properties, and honestly the biggest flaw with 2016 Suicide Squad movie, aside from the studio interventions, is the actual Suicide Squad. The point of the story is that it's a team of villains who are given a job to do that is ethically gray, and then they do it with the promise that they'll get time off their sentence. Usually at the end of the story, they end up like saving the world and proving that maybe they're the real heroes, and maybe if we just give them a chance, they can be good people. The Suicide Squad series is a great way of taking a villain who doesn't get a lot of attention or get a lot of characterization and give them that characterization by setting them up in situations where they are in a different position, where now they're the heroes, now they're stopping the bad guys. It's especially important to put them in a situation where they have a tactical purpose for being there. In the 2016 movie, I don't know why half the fucking people here are there. They don't serve a purpose. The job is to get Amanda Waller out of the city and to take down the Enchantress. So I get why Deadshot and Rick Flag are here, right? They're military guys, they're good at tactical, quick in and out jobs. Honestly, I get Killer Croc and the fucking guy who can climb things really well. They're in a city, so sewers are going to be valuable and climbing buildings is going to have a lot of utility. Why are Harley Quinn, Katana, and Captain Boomerang here? They don't serve a purpose and only one person dies, and it's the guy who can climb the skyscrapers that they're surrounded by. Diablo is here. Why are you bringing him to a city? His thing is creating giant fires. Characters like Diablo and Captain Boomerang I guess can be good at fighting hordes of enemies, but they need like a lot of space to really use their abilities. I'm pretty sure at some point in the movie, Diablo's like, hey, you guys need to get out of here so that I can use my power. That's not a good thing. You shouldn't need to leave the situation so that the person you brought into the situation can exist. Tana's like a ninja. I guess she could be useful, but she has to be like up close and like in the guys' faces who are bad guys in order to do the thing that she does. And Harley Quinn is a fucking therapist who can do a backflip. Like the only thing that I guess she could use in some situations is like, I guess she's attractive, but that's only done to objectify her in one scene and then it never comes back. It's not important. It's just there to say, hey, look, Margot Robbie's a pretty girl, right? And then that's it. That's all that they do. They just wanted to sell tickets. But we're in the good section, so it's time that I say this. The Suicide Squad Isekai has a really good use of the characters. Everybody serves a purpose, even if their original purpose is just to be expendable, maybe get a kill or two, and then die. The mission originally was to enter a new dimension and then prepare it for a government takeover so that the government can steal resources from that dimension. The original Suicide Squad, or Task Force X, that got sent there disappeared. So they brought a new one with a bunch of characters with the sole mission of finding and returning the old team, and maybe if they can, finish the mission along the way. Makes sense that Rick Flag would end up being here. He's very valuable. Peacemaker. They're two guys who do what the government says because they believe in whatever the government is promising. I just noticed there's like a thing here. I could probably mask that out or something, but I'm not going to. I can't use this green screen, so it's just here now. Oops, my bad. I forgot to set it up properly, and I ended up cutting my finger doing so, oops. Deadshot always makes sense in these type of stories. Having a guy with really solid weapon ability, super valuable. Having 3 guys like Peacemaker, Rick Flag, and either Deadshot or Bloodsport work really well in these movies. They are kind of like what the Suicide Squad is. They're like the main people that the Suicide Squad has. And then you have the expendable people who can be useful here and there, who provide an ability that could help. But overall, they're there to be meat shields and to die, hopefully. Like Clayface and King Shark, for example, are very powerful enemies who the world would probably benefit if they ended up dying on the mission because they're super strong nonetheless. Harley Quinn is also here, and she is definitely seen as like a very expendable pick, maybe get a couple kills here and there. But because of a reveal that I don't like, but we'll get to that later, it kind of does make sense why Amanda might want her in that world. So I really like the character picks here, and I also like that their ultimate use in the story isn't just their tactical use. They all serve a benefit that is different from theirs, or at least Clayface and Harley do, with Clayface knowing about Isekai tropes and being able to lead the team through some situations and being like, hey, this thing usually works like this, so what if we do it like that? And then things work out, and it's a cute like fourth wall break without having a character who can break the fourth wall. And Harley ends up inspiring the young princess to lead the kingdom and is a role model for her. Harley Quinn also has a pet dragon now, which I think that's just cool. Anyways, we're going to go to the bad section. Maury Calliope made the outro song. She's a VTuber, and I think she's kind of whack, but I don't know. The outro song's not like bad. The outro's fine. The song is just a little bit bland, I think, like in my opinion. The like redeeming factor that everybody talks about with the outro isn't how good the song is, but how silly the animations are, with Amanda Waller busting it down animal style.
A white boy who busts it down sexual style.
It's just funny. But the song itself is kind of like, I guess it works. The beat is like fine for the animation. But I mean, that's just a nitpick. Speaking of Amanda Waller, I don't think she was a threat in this. And I feel like that's not good. I feel like Amanda Waller is supposed to be like this big overarching force who has a bunch of knowledge and ability, but ultimately gets foiled by her own desire to do things her way. Because the way that she thinks is right ends up screwing her over in the long run, and she gets defeated. In this show, she doesn't like do anything. The only time she tries to like kill a member of the Suicide Squad, it happened to be Clayface, and then Clayface just came back because he's made of clay and an explosion is not gonna fucking kill him. It just made Amanda Waller look kind of weak, but I hope she's better in the next seasons. I think the Joker reveal is whack. We all knew the Joker was gonna be in the show, and we all knew he was gonna be controlling like the Empire probably, but I just don't like the character of the Joker in this. It feels like the epitome of what everybody thinks the Joker is, without having like any of the driving force or actual reasoning why people think that way or why he represents himself in a certain way sometimes. Speaking of missing the driving force, where's the fucking DC characters? Where are the Justice League? Where's Batman? Half the cast in this show are Batman characters. Why is he not even like mentioned? Where's Gotham City? This is not Gotham City. This is just some Japanese metropolitan area. And I think that's what I mean when I say the art style isn't my favorite thing. I think it leads well to good animation, but overall it just kind of leads to middling, like actual world building, and it just kind of misses the point in favor of being more like anime. Just a quick ad. I don't know if it's a nitpick as instead of more of like a concern. We didn't need this shot of Harley. I'm sorry, we don't need it. It's just weird. In my opinion, I think it's weird. Like, I get it's an anime trope, but we don't need a full pan from toe to head of Harley naked or nude. She doesn't have any like parts showing, but it's a nude pan up her body. And I get, again, it's a trope, whatever, but that doesn't mean you have to do it like that. Why is she the only one who gets that? Everybody else just kind of like their clothes appear on them. And then they're like, okay, I'm here. I think the only other character who we see kind of naked in this way is played for laughs more. And it's just Peacemaker. We see his ass a couple times. And then they put like a sensor over where his dick would be. But like in this one, there's no reason. It's just, oh, Harley's naked now. And she's putting on new clothes. Again, it's like the original show. It's like, why? What is this doing? I get the reference. We don't need to do it. Like I said earlier, My Adventures with Superman uses a lot of anime tropes, but honestly, they don't even use a lot. They use some anime tropes, and the few times they use them, they almost always have a twist. I think the closest we'll see is the magical girl transformations that Superman and I think Supergirl do, but we don't see a full nude 360-degree shot of Supergirl when she's putting on her costume. Her costume just appears and we get some twinkles and there's like a cool background and it's a reference. It's not just a shot-for-shot recreation for no reason that nobody else gets. It's hard to say actually bad things about this show. Amanda Waller doesn't really have a purpose. I think they misunderstood the Joker, and I don't understand the obsession with just making Harley naked in these type of movies. Like, come on, she's a character. She's a woman with like a bit like knowledge and power, and she's strong. I liked it overall. Just a couple weird, weak moments. I think it's like an 8.5 out of 10.